The word is the smallest part of a sentence that has a meaning. They can be divided into 9 parts that are considered the parts of speech. Words can be categorized by their function or their use. Now we're going to see how we can categorize each of them and how they can work to form a full sentence. One way we are going to make it easier to understand the parts of speech is by using the structure of a sandwich. This is based on how we make a sandwich. We usually have to do certain steps that will help us make the perfect sandwich. In this case, we're going to use these parts that are supposed to be the 9 parts of the parts of speech to identify each of them with one of the parts of speech, you can say. For example, one can be the bread, one can be the butter, one can be the meat, one can be the lettuce. It can all depend on how we're going to relate them to that. The first and easier part of speech to understand is the noun. The noun is the person, the thing, the place, the event, or the idea that is doing an action. When it comes to nouns, we can categorize them in different ways. For example, the most known are to categorize the noun are by categorizing them if they are common or if they are proper. Common nouns are usually the ones that do not specify a place, a name, or something in specific. For example, you're just using the generic name that it has. For example, to use a generic name, you can say a car, a TV show, maybe a chair, a pizza place, or even just a door, a house. The point of it is that it's not specifying something specifically, it's just the generic name of that thing. The other part is the proper nouns. The proper nouns are the ones that do specify the name or what it's talking about. For example, some proper nouns are your given name. When you use the name on a person, we have to use a specific proper noun so that we can identify them as such. These are the ones that usually use official names. It can be the name of a person, maybe the name of a TV show, name of a place, maybe even just the way you can refer to someone. One of the main rules of the proper nouns is the fact that they have to be capitalized on the first letter of the name or the place. For example, you usually have to use, when you use the name of a person, you have to capitalize their first name or their given name. This is to make it like it seems official. They are the official name and you cannot change how they are. No matter in which part of the sentence it is, it can be at the end of it, it can be at the start, it has to be always capitalized. For example, with the difference between common and proper names, let's do a sentence. You could say, oh, I like this new TV show. That will be using the common noun of a TV show, since you're not specifying which one you like. But you could say, oh, I like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones will have to start with a capitalized letter at the start of each letter that it has, because it's an official name or an official show that has a pattern that helps it make it like a real specific thing. Other ways that you can specify a noun are the next ones. You can say that a noun is abstract, or you can say that a noun is concrete. When we talk about concrete nouns, We are usually talking about things that we can perceive with our 5 senses. Concrete nouns are the ones that we can touch something, that we can see it, that we can smell it. In the other hand, abstract nouns are the ones that we cannot perceive with our 5 senses. For example, an abstract noun can be an idea or maybe a feeling. You cannot exactly touch or smell love, but you know that it can be a noun, you know that it exists. Another ways to classify nouns, it can be by using the count, mass, the collective nouns, and all of these new classifications that you can find when you're trying to research more about nouns. For example, count mass are the ones that you can count that have a singular and a plural way of writing them. Or the mass nouns are the contrary to the count mass nouns. These are the ones that, since there are a lot of them, you need to use things like gramos, kilos, millimeters, centimeters to find a way to use them in a sentence. For example, collective nouns, in other hands, are the ones that come on a group. Those are the ones that are groups. For example, you can say a pack of wolves, a class, a group. Those are the ones that are considered collective nouns. The way we can join together the idea of the structure of the sandwich with the nouns is making them seem like the bread. They are an important part of the sentence because without the bread on a sandwich, it would just be a mess of things trying to stick together. You cannot hold it, you cannot taste it, you cannot take a bite out of it because you don't have how to handle it. You don't know who is doing the sentence, you don't know what is happening because you don't understand the noun. If you don't have the bread, you are not able to sustain the other things of a sentence. The next one we are going to do are pronouns. Pronouns serve as a replacement of the nouns without making a specific way to do it. You don't have to use a name or a specific name, and instead of that you use a shortened name that could help you identify them even though you're not being specific. One of the pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, you on a pronoun, and they. These are just one of the samples of pronouns you can find. These are usually taught when you are in elementary school, so you most likely already know about this. But to put a point to this is that pronouns can be identified as a type of bread. Well, we might already know the type of bread that we're using. You have to specify what type of bread. Do you want white bread? Do you want one of banana bread? You want something specific? You want it to be spicy? You want it to have a certain spice, a certain flavor? Then you need to specify the type of bread. If you don't specify the type of bread, maybe it would